Hi, my name is Mark Murphy. I'm a volunteer for the Collings Foundation. I'm the lucky guy that gets to fly the P-51 Mustang that you see behind me. The P-51 is a 1,400 horsepower Rolls-Royce Merlin, and I have about 350 hours in P-51s right now. I've been flying them for about 6 years. I've been flying for 27 years. And today I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Mustang here. I come out here and volunteer 2 to 3 times a year for the Collings Foundation, and that totals about 5 or 6 weeks of time, and you couldn't find a better thing to do with your spare time. Come fly a P-51 Mustang. One of the biggest questions that I get asked about the Mustang is the P factor on the prop. And what that is when I take off, I can't take this airplane and go to full throttle like you can on most airplanes. I have to advance the throttle in stages. If I go right from nothing to full throttle, the propeller will have so much torque that it's almost impossible to keep it on the runway, and it would actually pull to the left. One of the things that we do about the P-51 is we have a spotter when we're getting ready to start. The reason is the clamshell doors, which that's a hard word to say, but they actually have to cycle in sequence, and to make sure that sequence happens properly so we don't have an issue with the gear in flight, the spotter will give us a thumbs up once the flaps come up and the doors close. With this gear, if it gets out of sequence, we could have an issue with it not retracting all the way or not coming down and locking all the way. On one of the flights that I was on, when we took off, we brought the gear up, and we were in formation with another airplane. The other airplane called that we had one gear hanging down, which the scary thing about that is you're not sure what happened, but obviously something got out of sequence, and with one gear hanging down, now the question is, will the gear go down properly? Fortunately, that incident ended well. Put the gear down, and it was down and locked. We had to take it back to the airport, put it on jacks, and recycle the gear and just check things out. But there's a timing sequence that sometimes is difficult to rig on a Mustang. So let me show you the canopies here. One of the biggest differences from the B and C models versus the D is the canopy. This canopy's been modified as a 2-seater, but it's kind of a pain in the neck to get all these latches latched properly and locked down properly. But that's how the canopy will work on the B and C model. The D model has the more common bubble or teardrop canopy, and that one is very simple. We get in and we just have a crank to open and we have a crank to close. Much better design, but as with any aircraft, they start out with an original design and then they make modifications as they come along. So this airplane is the only one in the world that's been modified to have a full backseat cockpit. What we could do with these is we offer instructional rides in the airplane. The passenger will take over the back seat of the airplane. It's a fully instrument panel back there. We have stick, rudder, throttle. So one of the differences in the tail section of the P-51 C versus the B is the C and B, they do not have a dorsal fin. And the dorsal fin was added on the D model. It helps with the stability of the plane as far as the yaw goes. So on this plane here, compared to the D, we have to have a little more, we have to use the rudders just a little bit more than you would on the other plane. Now that we've talked about the tail, we're going to get in the cockpit and we'll show you some of the unique features of the P-51 from the inside. Okay, come on inside. Let's talk about the cockpit of the P-51. Let's start off with the throttle quadrant here. This is what makes the airplane go. Right there is the throttle. That's what gets us in the air. Then I'm able to control the pitch of the propeller with this lever, and then the mixture. This actually turns the fuel on and off in the airplane. Just about everything here is original. Obviously, this is not. We are in a lot of airspace with this airplane, and since we're giving instruction, we want to be safe. So we've got modern instruments here. I do have a fuel counter here so I can monitor my fuel, but the rest of the panel is just about as you would see it in World War II, with your altimeter and my manifold pressure, RPM, and airspeed. So one of the privileges that I get almost on a daily basis when I'm out here flying the Collings Foundation is to meet people, and that's what this organization is all about. We're honoring the people that served our country and the people that actually flew these airplanes. Quick little story. I was able to take a guy up the other day. He was in World War II, and it was his dream to fly in a P-51. He was 83, and we got him all strapped in, and he wasn't sure what to expect out of the flight. But once we got going, he was one of the best passengers. We did everything. He flew the airplane. We did loops. We did rolls. He was like a little kid when we were in the plane. He was giddy. He was laughing, and just a neat experience that I get to share with people. And after we landed, we got out, we shook hands, we did our pictures and things, and he brought me over and he said, "Mark," he said, "I'm good." And I'm like, what do you mean?" And his name was Barry, and he said, "I'm good." He said, I could die now, and I'm a happy man. My life is complete. And that's just a quick little story of something that is really an honor for me to be able to share with people with this airplane. Okay, it is time. It's the tough part of my job, but I get to go flying, so that's what we're going to do. Let's go flying.